So I guess we're doing this. Welcome back to 90s sci-fi. Does it isekai? And today we're talking about Quantum Leap. This user suggests that Quantum Leap could be considered an isekai. So for those that don't remember, it was the night. I need a microphone like Kevin James Thornton. It was the 90s. But anyway, no. So Quantum Leap was a show that aired from 1989 to 1993 on NBC. It starred Scott Bakula as Sam Beckett, and his sidekick, his guy in the chair, was Al Calavici, played by Dean Stockwell. The premise of the show is that Sam is bouncing around at different points within his own lifetime, but he bounces into or leaps into other people and lives their life for a few days, a week, whatever, sets right what once went wrong. That's the premise. He's able to do this because life and time is a whole bunch of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff, quite literally. So your life is represented by a string with birth and death at each end. You loop the string, crumple it into a ball. The points of your life randomly touch, and by stepping into a particle accelerator, that is how Sam is able to leap from point to point. But something went wrong, and he's not able to get back to his own time. So he stepped through this portal or this accelerator, but he's still in our world. Now, what is isekai? Like we talked about in the last video, isekai is a subgenre of fantasy fiction that involves a character being transported to a new world, often one that is magical or filled with adventure. Okay, so Sam is definitely transported. He's definitely on an adventure. He hits those points. Question is it really a new world? Technically, no. However, I'm just throwing this out there. You take a white man raised in rural Indiana who lives in California in the 90s, and you transport him back to 1960s. This happened in one episode. Transport him back to Mobile, Alabama in the body of a black man in the 1960s. I would argue that is probably a very different world. It's definitely a different set of social norms, it is different. So the question is it different enough to qualify as an isekai? Another example would be, there was an episode where he beamed into the body of a woman, a secretary in the automotive industry in the 1950s. Think like Mad Men and stuff like that. And he had to learn and adapt and work within that situation to, again, put right what once went wrong. So the question is, can this journey be considered an isekai? Would this series be considered an isekai? What do you think? I also think it's important to note that at times this show can get very woo-woo, very spiritual, right? It is heavily implied throughout the series, and at times directly stated, that Sam's leaps are being guided by a higher power. God, the universe, whatever, okay? And there's even, I believe, a Halloween episode where he does come face to face with the devil, who, if I remember correctly, was inhabiting Al's body or something like that. Again, I'm trying to remember a 30-year-old TV show from when I was a kid, but what do you think? Does it isekai?